How do you react to strong, difficult emotions and overwhelming situations? Do you turn to unhealthy vices? Do you turn to other people? What about when you don't have that option? One thing I've learned is that life is crazy and unpredictable. You can lose access to any external comfort or support at any time. The only thing we're guaranteed to always have is ourselves. So it's crucial that we learn to manage ourselves under any conditions. My name's Sarah, and in this video, I'm going to help you figure out how to do exactly that. I'm not just saying this for the sake of the video. Everything is frustrating me right now, and I'm getting very hot, so I'm probably going to be taking this off in a few minutes. Yeah, I'm taking it off right now. If you've seen some of my other videos, you may recognize where I am right now. The first time I recorded here instead of my desk was because I was depressed and found this spot more comfortable. We're going to call this Sarah's sad spot. I was having temperature issues that day too. Oh my God, I'm hot. But this spot's not really about feeling sad. It's about feeling comfort. So from now on, this is going to be called Sarah's soothe spot. And it's the perfect setting for today's topic, the art of self-soothing. Self-soothing is the ability to regulate our emotions and comfort ourselves, especially during times of anxiety or emotional distress. It's about quickly reducing the intensity of negative emotions without the help of others. It's good to reach out sometimes, and having a strong support system is important, but it's problematic if you primarily or exclusively rely on others for your emotion regulation. Others aren't always available physically and emotionally, and you can do serious damage to your relationships if you expect or require that constant availability and support. You also limit your own abilities and growth by relying on others too much. I won't say I've mastered this art, but I have been in remission from borderline personality disorder for almost 2 years. BPD comes with extremely intense emotions, and I can assure you I never would have gotten this far in my recovery or my life if I hadn't gotten really good at self-soothing. But the problem here is that I am not you. There's a lot of personal preference in self-soothing, so the techniques that work for me aren't necessarily the techniques that would work for you. To better understand what generally makes for an effective self-soothing technique, I've been studying the subject more deeply and asking people, in real life and on the BPD and DBT subreddits, about their favorite methods of self-soothing. Ultimately, it's going to take a good understanding of yourself and a bunch of trial and error to find the best techniques for you specifically. But I've boiled down the information I've gathered into categories, common themes, and examples that should provide helpful guidance. First, I highly suggest that you stay away from self-defeating methods of self-soothing. These can include drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes, binge eating, binge watching TV, unnecessary spending, picking at your face, biting your nails, whatever unhealthy means of escape you use. I've never been much of a nail biter, but I can attest to the others not being ideal. These techniques can reduce the intensity of negative emotions in a moment of distress, but they still have an overall negative effect. There are so many positive methods to choose from, so we're going to stay away from these ones. Let's normalize healthy coping skills. Many self-soothing techniques are based around distraction using mindfulness, shifting your focus from here to here. A great way to tap into mindfulness is by using the 5 senses, which ties directly into the first self-soothing category I noticed, sensory techniques. Your ability to use mindfulness with these methods will determine how soothing they actually are. Let's look at taking a bath, for example. Sylvia Plath once wrote, "There must be quite a few things a hot bath won't cure, but I don't know many of them." I love that quote because baths have always been one of my favorite go-to self-soothing techniques. But even though I naturally find baths relaxing, if I'm sitting there letting my mind continue to run wild over whatever situation I'm reacting to, it's only going to bring my emotions from an 8 to a 7. But if I really employ mindfulness by focusing on my senses, the warmth of the water, the smell of a lavender candle, I like to leave a little water running so I can enjoy the trickling sound and the feeling on my feet. Focusing on these sensations can change the experience entirely. I can bring that 8 down to a much more manageable 5. Since you're going to be focusing on these sensory experiences, you also want to make them pleasant and enjoyable. There's an asterisk on that statement that I'll come back to later. But pick your favorite things to look at, listen to, taste, smell, and touch. Here's my favorite thing to touch. She's been a menace. Are you one of the things frustrating me? Soft blankets and comfy pillows are totally essential for me. And until recently, it had been years since I had any stuffed animals or plushies. But now I have two. I was Misty from Pokemon for Halloween last week, so I got this Togepi as a prop. Now I see why Squishmallows are so popular. I seriously can't believe how good this thing feels. They did not make them like that when I was younger. And after my dad died, my friend got me this little hippo. And he's super soft and filled with flaxseed and lavender, so he smells good, and you can heat it up in the microwave for extra comfort. It really does help soothe me at night when I'm sad. So thank you for the great gift, Haley. Since we can't fully ignore our senses, they are connected to the other categories of self-soothing techniques that I found, but these other ones have additional beneficial qualities. Some people listed techniques that include some level of productivity and have a satisfying, clear end result. These include activities like baking, gardening, and cleaning. It seems like an important element of these is that they're straightforward and don't require a lot of brain power, even if they can still hold your focus. People generally seem to prefer something like vacuuming over something like organizing a closet for these self-soothing purposes. Cleaning also has the added benefit of improving your environment, which can positively affect your mood. People also enjoy creative techniques and other forms of expression. Writing was one of the most common responses I got. Some do creative writing or poetry, and others like to journal. I've found journaling to be very helpful for working through difficult emotions, and when I don't feel like actually writing, I turn to video journaling. Before speaking to a camera for all of you, I was doing it for myself. I have hours and hours of footage from over the years that I'll occasionally include in my videos. I'll try to include the date so it doesn't get too confusing. With these methods, you're not really distracting yourself from your negative feelings, but you can work through them and understand them in a more controlled way. Methods from any of these categories don't necessarily have to fully distract you, but if you can shift some of your focus into these self-soothing activities, you can still reduce the intensity of your negative emotions and process them more calmly and effectively. Other examples of creative self-soothing include coloring, drawing, playing music, and singing. These can tie into the productivity techniques if you prefer to have a clear end result, or you can have a more free expression of creativity with no goal other than enjoying the experience. Pick whichever form is more pleasant for you. It's important not to put pressure on yourself. Then we have movement techniques. If you enjoy running or advanced yoga, then feel free. But again, don't put pressure on yourself if those types of activities aren't relaxing for you. Stretching or going for a walk are simple and easy options. Many people find nature walks especially soothing. There's something special about connecting with nature, and there are a lot of different elements to the environment that you can focus your senses on. Movement can also be creative, like dancing, which is one of my favorites. Again, some self-soothing techniques can fall into multiple categories. Flow arts hits these categories for me in a very unique way, and I'm going to talk about that in another video at some point because I love flow arts. When figuring out which techniques are best suited for you, it's important not to rely on just one or two. That sounds like a line out of a Dr. Seuss book. But you want to have a lot of choices because not all of your preferred methods will always be helpful or possible. When I'm sick or injured, I can't do certain activities. When I'm really depressed, I can't always enjoy music like I usually do. And trying to force it just reminds me how depressed I am and makes me even more depressed. And sometimes reliable methods just don't work for whatever reason. This last category is especially reliable though. I wasn't sure how to name it, but it includes activities that are almost always accessible because they don't require external objects or environments or special conditions. I believe mindful breathing is the most powerful self-soothing technique there is, and you can pair it with any of these other techniques. One deep breath can make a big difference, and it can be even more helpful if you use inhale my friend, exhale my friend. Remember INF-EMF? If you don't know what that is, it's a simple method that combines breathing and positive self-talk. I have a video on that topic that'll pop up at the end of this video if you're interested. Positive self-talk on its own is a very effective self-soothing technique. our secondary emotions, or the emotions we feel in response to other emotions, and self-criticism can really amplify and add to negative feelings. It sucks to feel depressed, but it sucks more to feel guilty about feeling depressed. That's where positive self-talk comes in. Meditation is also helpful if you're already practiced and comfortable with that. Some people who responded mentioned self-soothing simply by rocking back and forth. That's technically movement, but I like it better in this category because it's so low effort. This category also includes self-touch. No, not that kind. It can be that kind if that works for you. A few people mentioned cricketing, where they rub their feet together, which I've never heard of, but I did find incredibly interesting. I like to pet my own head. This is what you'll see me doing if I'm stressed. And I also like to touch or rub my own skin. That feels good. Those are all the examples I have for today, but it's been so interesting seeing how many different responses there are. So please let me know in the comments what your favorite methods are. I'm thinking of putting together another video or maybe a few shorts, just listing out techniques one after the other for more inspiration. When you do come up with a few different options that work for you, it can be helpful to write down a personal list that you can refer to in moments of distress. And I did not forget my asterisk from earlier. If you're in extreme distress or feeling rage or strong urges to self-harm, you may need more intense methods that aren't necessarily pleasant. Something like holding an ice cube, taking a cold shower, biting into a lemon, doing very strenuous exercise. These can bring you down from those max distress levels, and then you can use those more enjoyable techniques to soothe yourself even further. If that applies to you, you may be especially interested in my next video. Next week is my 2-year BPD remission anniversary, and I'm going to be covering some frequently asked questions I get on the topic. Please subscribe if you're interested in that or any of my other content. It helps my channel a lot, and I really appreciate the support. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace. Lolita, come soothe me. Hey, do pets count as self-soothing? I've been wondering it this whole video. Please let me know what you think in the comments.